What's up, YouTube?
What's up?
And I guess not Twitch this time, but everybody listening to the Rogues Passage podcast, welcome back.
Yeah.
I'm Tanner Cherry. We're hanging out, shooting the shit. It's the boys.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Pie. Yeah, we're doing pretty good, honestly.
I'm Jonathan Delmont. It's nice to meet you. I'm new here.
The pseudonym.
Honestly, I'm vibing. Recently just moved in with Tanner. We've been able to really spearhead a lot of our projects here. We have an upcoming tournament. There's a lot going on. I'm vibing.
Oh, more importantly, Brady moved his beautiful cat Johan into this house recently.
Insert picture of Johan.
Johan's
24 beautiful claws.
Oh yeah, he's got what is it called? Pterodactylism.
Yeah.
He's got 6 toes on each foot.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah, he's
so many
my bae. He's his name is inspired from a blonde Dutch model named Johan. I can't remember his last name, so please don't ask. But I remember as I was like a teen, I was like, oh wow, he's hot. So that's just always stuck, and I always loved the name Johan. And then eventually, I finally acquired him. He just looked like a Johan. He's blonde. I was like, it works for me. And then I gave a more of a because his name is Johannes von Caterwall, and Caterwall is one of my favorite cartoon characters ever. Fievel Goes West. Mm-hmm. Love it. Yeah, Steven Spielberg production. And yeah, just being able to have a cat with that name that means this much to me. Like the cat means this much to me with a name that is this symbolic. Even every time I bring it into the vet, they're like, Johan? Or they say Johan at first. I'm like, it's Johannes.
Yeah, hey, Johan, how's it going?
Caterwalls? Yeah, it's the sound they make when they rut. That's what that is.
Yes, sexy cat.
Sexy cat.
I'm very happy. My 2 cats were not happy at first, but they're warming up nicely. Anyway, we're what do we got? You're opening up YouTube. We had notes. What do you guys want to talk about today? Earlier.
I think we should start because me and you were having a conversation before we were rolling, just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, do you want to pick that one up?
And Tanner had some
specific
words to say. So, how do y'all feel?
Do you want to start, or do you?
I'm just going to throw it out there. How do y'all feel about group hug decks?
Yeah. How do y'all feel about the concept of showing up to the party?
I love giving hugs.
To fuck around and do nothing.
Yeah.
I find it, I don't know. I find it so perplexing. I'm just going to go on my rant here because this is soapbox Tanner moment.
Fire off.
I struggle, I guess. I struggle to figure out why. I think I understand why people like to do it, but like in a sense, I don't think there's enough Rule Zero discussion for people showing up to a Commander game as a group hug deck in regards to like, did the person that brought that deck ask the other players if they wanted to waste their time? Like, I know it's like a harsh take, but like, let's say you just built this deck, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like super stoked on the deck and you want to know how it stacks up or you want to know how it plays. And somebody sat down at the table to just fucking walk around and like with a jerry can of gasoline and screw up the game with like chaos, right? They're not there to like be an opponent. They're not
looking at you.
They're not there to be an opponent. They're not there to be actively engaged in like being a player who is a threat.
Yeah.
They just want to screw around and like the weird concept of like, I'm just going to make someone else win. I find that like a little weird because what if the person across from you didn't want to waste their time with that shit? What if they actually wanted to like play their deck?
Let me ask you a question. If you go to work one day and one of your coworkers decides to come in and just say, hey, I want to do like half your work. I just want to help you do half your work. Are you going to consider that wasted time?
No, because I'm getting paid, bro.
So if a player sitting at your table says, I want to do half your deck's work for you, so that you can pop off faster.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing: is it's like it's not a good reference of whether or how your deck works.
Yeah.
And the thing that I said to you earlier was like, if I wanted to play against fucking bots, I'd load up Arena and I'd play against Sparky.
Ouch.
Right? If I wanted to play against a bot, like
my
I'll
fellow
play
group
against a
huggers,
bot.
we are not bots. We are living, functioning, perfectly normal human beings.
I don't know. Big NPC energy coming from the group
I did.
hug.
That's what I said. I was like, man, it feels like NPC energy of the person, like, you know, like walking into the wall, like just like tripping over the chair.
Wait, you play Glunch and you give away all of the triggers?
No. So I would like to speak up now. I love group hug, and I also love the subtle nuance of like what you can decipher as a group hug. I have a multitude of them. He just mentioned Glunch. I did have Glunch the Bestower, one of my favorite Selesnyan brews I've ever made ever, and it literally just wanted to come in second. Guaranteed win con. If I come in second, I gently concede because my deck does not function to go into any kind of combat. It doesn't have any secret win condition. It just wants to make the game go fast. And that was the only exception. Now, going down from that, I have a deck called Parnace, the Subtle Brush. Parnace loves to give everyone copy triggers. So if I can do a crazy, ridiculous combo that's, like a Praetor's Grasp times 3 copy combo, giving that to other players as well, it's so, I'm getting goosebumps talking about that.
Oh my God.
I've had amazing interactions with Parnace. And then recently I just remade Gavi, the cycling pre-con commander from 2019, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And honestly, and this is his most recent group hug game he played. We were playing on Spell Table, and I was assuring everyone, I'm like, I just want people to draw cards. I do have some cheeky mechanics in here. It's like Parnace. There is a potential, didn't see that coming. But at the end of the day, Gavi just wants to make some Dino Kitties and give everyone some forced fruition,
Right. Okay. So that actually brings me to my other point is maybe my analysis of the archetype of group hug is not accurate to what other people believe group hug to be. And I'll say from my perspective, there's two different types of players that like that when they say they're playing a group hug deck, there's only two. One category is I just came to literally throw my clothes at the wall and run around screaming.
Glunch.
Just like ridiculous. Like I'm just gonna have a hilarious time, and like in that person, I have a little respect for because it's like you're trying to make people laugh, or like there's some giggles involved. You're not taking it seriously. But my second category of group hug players is the sneaky fuck. Why would you target me? I'm just giving you all these cards, and then you sneak in for the win because you do have like the essence of group hug is a distraction in whole. It is a wholesale distraction to try and take heat off you so that you can just get to the late game and execute your combo.
Hi, it me. I'm bitches.
You are bitches 100%. But I would like to say in my critique of group hug players, am I close or completely off base?
I think there's room for where you're right. There are going to be those sneaky group hug players. And that kind of does boil down to turn zero discussion a little bit of just like I posed to you earlier, where a simple question at the start of the game, if somebody says they're playing group hug, is you ask them, is this a group hug deck that's trying to win? Because if it's not trying to win, then there's your answer.
Right. I actually feel like I'm getting to that point where I feel like I want to ask that question if somebody says they're playing group hug.
You absolutely should.
Are you here to play?
Yeah. Are you here to play? Because like sometimes if it's just like literally I just want to like do the perimeter with the jerry can and light the building on fire. Yeah. That's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah. Because as what we were talking about before, the kind of point that I raised to it is that I didn't think it's the best to kind of look at group hug as like a play style in that way, where I compared it to this game has a lot of beautiful different ways to win the game. You can win through infect, you can win through commander damage, you can win
Infect's
through just
beautiful.
Yeah, you can win through just regular damage,
Proud of you.
through different things, ping, just overwhelming, kind of like the Sierra game with the Torolf, where it's just like, oops, here I'm just going to storm into 1.5 million damage. Then there's things like just like, I'm going to draw my deck and play like a lab maniac, where it's okay. I'm winning the game cards. But then there comes down to things like group hug, where it's like the nuance of it's somebody else's specific win con. They're not looking to win the game in the conventional way, which is I'm the last player standing. They're looking to win the game of I achieved something specific that I wanted to achieve. And that's where I think a lot of group hug does sit, is it's king making, which can still be annoying for a lot of people.
King making is a whole topic I would love to talk about as well.
And that's honestly, I think that usually what group hug decks do come down to is to king make or to have the most spectacular, generous plays possible. Yeah. Because I think, and now I want to, on your point of what, like two types of group hug players, I think it's a bit more ephemeral. I think it does come down to more or less to kind of like, angles that you're expressing there, but then it comes down to the player's mentality in those directions. So I think, as an example, if you set yourself for a win condition being like, I want to Tempting Worm turn 2, Jordan Cross, looking at you. I've never almost pissed myself.
What is Tempting Worm?
So when at ETBs, every opponent may dump their hand for permanence.
What?
Yeah. literally, and it costs 2 mana.
Yep.
It comes
2
out.
mana, everybody puts permanents from
they
their hand
may.
onto the battlefield.
If I
They may just
remember
defend.
correctly, it's starting in turn player order. You may put a permanent from your hand onto the battlefield, then repeat this process until no more permanents are put onto the battlefield.
And I've done that. And guess what? Turn 2, my victory for Glunch was coming in second, and I gave Jordan the infinite Feldegriff combo.
Yeah.
It was in his hand. He didn't know if he was even going to get there.
Yeah.
Bam, just like that, you know, and like literally all of us in hysterics.
Yeah.
All of us in hysterics. That may have just been reverse CDH, you know, like
Yeah, and no, I do understand. I totally understand. Like, the chaos can be the story. Yeah, and like commander players will resonate with the fact that a lot of times we're chasing the dragon of the story, the good story,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you all know the games that you've played where something happened that was like just legendary and like the kind of stories that you tell your other playgroup members.
Oh yeah, it's like I had a game way back in the day with my Omnath Locus of Rage deck, where it was 2 ETB doublers. It was like Gear for Ori or whatever the heck that one's called. Or
for lands. No, lands is double lands for everybody.
no, it was.
Or
no.
sorry, each player may play an additional land.
It was 2 specific cards that doubled ETB triggers. So it functioned with land ETB.
Amulet of Vigor. What is that again?
I can't remember.
Amulet
either
of
way.
Vigor is the one that things.
Oh no, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the reverse doubling season. Sorry, sorry.
Regardless, it turned into it was basically 2 like quadruple, because it was 2 things doubling my landfall triggers. With a Scoot Swarm on the battlefield. The Minotaur that I can't remember off the top of my head that has landfall you can take an extra combat. Each creature you control gains +1/+0 for each time it's attacked this turn.
God, what is that card called?
And then a Boundless Realms to drop what was basically 20 lands onto the battlefield. I can't remember. It was 10 to the 26th power worth of damage that I dealt. So that's like bigger than a billion.
That's like over 100 there, Bay. Hey?
I don't math, but that sounds impressive. Yeah.
It was an inconceivably large number that broke my calculator, and it was like, okay, that happened.
Like
awesome.
the billions of dollars from our Toralf.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I did want to, because we were able to correlate it. Honestly, even something like dice rolls, like neutral dice rolls.
Want to talk about that dice roll?
I do. This bothers me because me and Oz, while we were watching the live stream in the other room, we were like, "Oh my God, did C just do that?" Because after this tremendous turn, doing on average
billions of damage
that you can't get to easily.
Yeah.
And they got there, and then it came down to, okay, well, I just played God, and now I'm going to roll a dice, basically.
Yeah.
And then there would be, and I was like, why? Screaming like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
and
And
it lost her the game.
Yeah, no, you could watch that video and check out that all go down in one of our episodes.
Yeah,
I
Evra,
believe
that was episode 14, right?
we should
Evra.
we should be able to have the video linked here in a thumbnail. If it's not here, it's down in the description below.
Yep.
But yeah, no, group hug is fun, but it's not obviously for everybody. It's a mixed bag. The amount of times I go to, even recently on Spell Table, now that I'm doing it quite often, I'll play group hug sometimes as, hey guys, how's it all going? Especially if we all end up liking each other, we want to keep carrying on with games. I usually start with a group hug deck. And the amount of times that does not fly with someone who does not want someone to accelerate everyone else's game. No. It makes sense on average, actually, to take care and out completely that neutral player who just wants to have a bit of chaos.
This is what I'm speaking towards, because like I was playing, I don't know if it's like the devil's advocate thing, like being like an extremist in regards to being like, man, this is so stupid. I do sort of get it, but I do think like I trend a little more towards the spike psychographic, but not totally. I'm not just like a store grinder. I do love casual formats. I do love screwing around, so I do get it. But I started to realize like how it is kind of like, especially if you're looking to test your deck. If you're looking to test your deck against, and then like just one person is just like the monkey throwing shit in the corner, it's like it just you feel like you're like, man, like this is not a good representation. I don't know if I'm actually like getting value out of testing my deck here.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to bring that up, being like, is it actually like rude to sit down and just do the like, I'm just gonna throw accelerant on everyone else's fire?
Some people are narcissists. They just want praise. I just want to help people.
I have points to that too, where like I partially agree with that point, and then I kind of partially disagree, because a good way to test your deck is to see how synergistic it is. And when you're able to just throw everything
interesting.
down as fast as possible, you actually get to see the synergies. What card, when you play half your deck by turn 3, you're going to very quickly see the cards that do not combo with anything else in your deck. So those are kind of like the clear cut cards. But on that note, like I'm building a group hug deck right now that I'm very excited for because it steps outside of the realm of normal group hug decks. Where normal group hug decks, like you're going to potentially play something like braids, like the
Oz?
the blue braids, things like that. We're just like, okay, hey, everybody's getting like free stuff. What is it? I'm building a. I'm probably going to butcher this name. Sorry, Kineos and Tiro of Melitus.
Kineos and Tiro.
Yeah. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land from their hand onto the battlefield. Then each opponent who didn't draw a card. So realistically, it's a little bit of land, fast, and or card draw.
4 mana too, eh?
What I'm doing with it specifically is it's nothing but card draw. It's nothing but total board state card draw. Why? Because it's not meant to win. It's not meant to win. It's meant to accelerate the game, but in a way where it's like it's not giving people free spells. It's not giving people like the ability to like horrendously pop off like tempting worm kind of stuff. It's just card draw. It's pure card draw. Just card draw for the whole purpose of everybody gets to draw into everything that they want to play faster, but they still have to play it at whatever speed that they can manage until it turns to the point of I'm just going to not stop drawing you cards. If I draw you all out of your deck before you can win, that's your fault.
Right, and that crosses. I feel like those are two different things. If you're just trying to load people's hands to see what happens, that's 100% of a different thing than it is
That's
to
chaos.
I'm
That's
going to
leaning
keep
into chaos.
going until you're dead.
Yeah.
If you have finality in your plan, if you have like I want to reduce your deck card life total to 0.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a mill deck.
Yeah, I'm not trying to mill.
Well,
It's one of those things where it's like if that's what accidentally happens, I load both of your hands with everything that you can do.
Yeah, like force
but
version.
I'm not giving you a bunch of. I'm not allowing you to just play everything for free. But it turns it's like okay, you guys have no maximum hand size and half your decks in your hand. Well, that's not going to stop you from countering his spell. It's not going to stop him from countering your spell. You guys are still at liberty to be doing whatever the heck you want. But I'm still going to keep drawing you cards and drawing you cards and drawing you cards.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna think back to a very early moment in my Magic life right now when the person to my right handed me a Zedru the Great-Hearted and was like, I challenge you to build this deck. And
There's so many good cards now for it. Like Zedru is still.
But the parallel that I'm going to draw right now is that at the time I was like, this card makes no fucking sense, Brady. And like, I get it, but I have never quite reached the point where I wanted to build a deck like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe I gave the card back to you.
I did. Yeah, you gave it back to me.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't think I'm going to build this, Brady.
No,
Like, I
it's
don't
fine.
think it's my style. And the closest I've ever been in my own personal Magic journey to building a group hug deck was when I built Kenrith, the Returned King.
Oh, you called that group hug?
No, the only reason I called it group hug, and I lied to myself. I told myself that I would. I told myself that I would use his abilities on other people because you could.
Yeah.
But I
you
never
never
did.
did.
Yeah.
And my mission was that I was every time I cast Kenrith and he was on the battlefield, I was going to wear a Burger King crown. And I just never got the crown, but I was going to be like, bow to your king, and like if you beg for your king, I will do deeds for you.
I don't. That doesn't fly for
But
some
it
players.
didn't. It did not jive with me. I didn't resonate with building a deck where I was going to give a bunch of other people stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not like a competitive player, but I am too competitive for that.
You're just
I think I
gaslighting
just-
yourself with your own deck brew.
I think I kind of just cracked a little bit of the code here, though, because I'm thinking towards some of your grasshoppers, the people that you've brought in and have been like teaching how to play
Oh,
Magic,
the River Cafe for Phyrexians? Yeah.
and then even going through some of our friends and stuff that aren't even like the most express, like that, like don't play that often, but just get to. I'm kind of noticing, at least out of our play group, a pattern now that you bring it up. Yeah, Tanner, you're a lover of Pioneer and some of the other more just like strictly competitive formats. Like there is no group hug in Pioneer. You could, but that's actually why are you playing it? Because there's nothing but trying to win in things like Pioneer. So it kind of makes sense where I'm looking at it from like me and Brady's perspective, and it's like I don't think it's having played the game that wise, but you don't build a lot of decks the way that me and Brady do. Like Brady more than both of us.
Brady's like the The turbo brewer.
Yeah.
Though there's a reason I have ADHD and I struggle with OCD. And like with depression issues aside and, neurotic tics, Magic deck brewing is panacea. It is a safe place for me. And now I have almost 60 decks. And once I'm done with, my next batch, I'm going to have maybe around 70. And if I keep going with this, I could keep going. But at the rate that I'm also going, like, because, I have 6 that are devastating. Most people like to argue about whether I should play it. And then the rest are around power 5 to 6, like, Gavi or weird grouphug mechanics or just silly shenanigans or decks that aren't that strong but have savage combos that may or may not pay off. But I don't know. When it comes to it, I do love. And the faster I go with my deck building as well, it actually inherently, and I'm not lying, it has done so much to help my own in like normal life strategy. I mean that, especially when it comes to math. Like if I quit Magic right now, I think my math skills would.
Building Magic, playing Magic. Yeah. There is very real parallels to life skills.
Yeah. How to be a good person.
Risk management. Like threat assessment.
Threat assessment. Yeah, 100%.
Man, when I'm
Politics.
co-op, I really need to know
Bartering.
threat assessment.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing. We're just like, I wonder if there's that like certain nuance of we've outlived the competition. We've played the overly oppressive. Oh, we're just taking control of this game. We've pissed off enough players. We've induced enough salt that it just kind of turns into like maybe there's a trend there where the more you play, the more decks you build, and the more that you kind of get past that point of like, I've won over 1,000 games of Magic. Now it's time to force other people to win.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
I've been God, and now I'm ready to humble myself.
I realize there's like an effect that happens when you tune a deck. Mm-hmm. Like my Locust God deck is a deck that I care about deeply, and like I basically every change that I make to it makes it a little more efficient.
Yeah,
like it's not there yet. It's not at 100%. It's not even close. And
I would say it's a firm power 8 though, guaranteed.
Right, but
you
like
just get a couple more tutors in there.
Yeah, you haven't pushed to make it competitive yet.
But like, I love that deck so much, but I'm noticing an effect that every time I put in like another couple cards that make it that much better, I get to play my deck less because people don't want to play against power level like that often.
Target players looking at you.
So I'm like pricing my deck out of my own enjoyment, right? Like it's getting and a lot of Magic players, a lot of Commander players reach that point, and then and I've done it before too. Like I've like, okay, I'm gonna dial this deck back a bit. I'm gonna like tone it down a bit so that I can play it.
Yeah.
But I'll never do that with Locust God. I'm going to climb that mountain until that thing is perfection.
I can't. I personally don't. Yeah.
Well, we actually kind of, I kind of half covered this on like our origin stories of Magic in the first podcast. Go check it out. Where I kind of talked where it's like when I first started playing Magic seriously, I was taught and trained by CEDH players where it's just like, oh yeah, trying to go infinite on turn 1, 2, or 3 is the way to play this game, and that burnt me out early in the days of playing Magic. Where like now I build things, and we were kind of half discussing this, a video to follow at some point in the indiscriminate future for weird deck building, where it's like, it's why my Henzi is the way it is. It's a very potent, very powerful deck, but it's not really meant to win through one thing. It's not really meant to be like a Locust God.
It's circumstantial. Like you're swooping for the kill. It's very Art of War.
Yeah, it is a deck that just loves to... It's a toolbox. It loves to meddle. It loves to do 1.5 million things. No game really ever plays out the same. The closest it ever came is when I had the infinite combo that was in there. And I won a few games with it, and it was awesome. But it was too easy for me to just be like, I have
red cap combo. Yeah.
It became too easy and too quick for me to just lean into that infinite combo and win with it. We're just like, I'm not having fun with this anymore. So I just turned it into weird pseudo janky brew stuff where it's like Devoted Druid. Not Devoted Druid. Druid of Purification.
Yeah, you abused that one way too much.
One of my favorite cards in
I've
Magic.
never seen somebody get so much mileage out of that card.
Yeah.
I won a game actually with it on our channel once by politicking with Tanner the entire time because he kept abusing it. He did it like 4 times that game. And then every time, and he'd be picking apart at his Atali brew, and I'm just like playing Rakdos being like, tell you what, Tanner, I'm not going to destroy your artifacts. I would ask the same of you. And he was like, you know what? Yes.
Yeah, good deal.
And I won.
See, and that's exactly what I mean. It's like I made the conscious step to look away from like, I can just play oppressive field wipe cards that would do the exact same thing and put me in a better state. But instead, It's about throwing down that fun chaos, it making the game experience, giving other players actions that they get to make choices with to politic for.
That's why I love Parnace.
Yeah.
Like, oh, frick. You know, like the one time I was playing, well, I could have said fuck. Anyways.
No, sorry. I'm actually like, I feel like you were just channeling the Commander Cookout guys.
No, I wasn't actually. I was trying to watch my language. Anyways, no. One of my grasshoppers recently, one of my Phyrexians, Aiden, very very talented young player. He's only still kicking ass. I'm really proud of him. And we were playing one day. It was with Parnace, and he ended up copying it with a clone. And I was like, are you sure you want to do that? He's like, yeah, by all means. So then I was like, wait a second. And I looked at the interaction. It was like 2 on the same battlefield. What the fuck does that mean? Oops, sorry. And then
go nuts, swear.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, and then I had a Siphon Insight in hand. I was like, I tell you what, we'll go infinite with this spell. We'll mill them out or exile their libraries, and then I think I can beat them. He's like, yeah, sure. So I do that. We pass back and forth Siphon Insight, exiling everyone else's. Is Siphon Insight here? Parnace, Subtle Brush here.
It's here. We put them here.
It's always in the center.
Here. And whatever. But yeah, no, I had Vision Skeins in my hand, and then I made everyone draw 2 cards. Nobody, they're like between the 2 opponents, it was just me. I was like, Aiden, just want to say, fuck it and go from here. He's like, yeah, okay, let's get a new game in. And literally, we were in hysterics. I had never in my life seen that. I kept running back because Emery was over at another table at the house at the time, and I was like, Emery, be proud of me.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Oh, we were cut from the same cloth, honestly. Yeah.
What you fucking with some stuff over there? Also, hey, hi to everybody that I can see that's chatting in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
I set up multi-streaming for the tournament this weekend, which we'll also talk about soon.
Yeah. Shout outs to Michael Boyer.
Michael Boyer, he's coming to our tournament day.
And Brian.
Yes.
Brian Bushanon, is that Brian from Into the 99?
Brian. Yeah, that's Brian. Yep. Mr.
yeah.
Brian 99.
Fly,
Oh, yeah, Grouphug must die first. Yep, been there. Yeah, right? Like, you can't disagree with that.
And that's exactly kind of part of the whole conversation, too. And I think we should probably shift on after that, which is Grouphug. Nobody wants the opponents to be like ramped the way Grouphug does. Yeah. So it's not like you're actually sitting there doing nothing. You are a direct target because you're like, oh, now I have to put resources into killing this person anyway.
Yeah, well, this conversation came up basically because of
the game that we had.
Was it because like
I assured you,
my
I just
first game on Spell Table.
I just want to draw cards for everybody. He's like, okay, but I can do some things. Like if I get Locust God and I do a wheel, there's a chance I might decide to attack. Yep. But I decided my combo actually was Buccaneer. Oh god, Minotaur Buccaneer. Every time you discard a card, deals 1 damage to each opponent. So I made myself draw a buttload of cards. I played a Firewing Bird or whatever. It's like you discard your hand, draw 3 cards, and then bam to everybody. I killed 2 players, and then Tanner killed me.
Ooh, okay. We got Michael saying in chat, thoughts on splitting the format CEDH and Commander. Do we want to take turns on this?
What do we? Okay. First, I want to know a little bit more about what he means by that.
Well, okay. I'll show you what I interpret from that because right now, splitting the format, from what I get from that is the regulatory body that governs the format. Yeah. Because right now we have a rules committee that governs Commander.
Yeah.
And what that means is there's a ban list that is essentially CEDH and casual Commander, tabletop Commander have to deal with the same ban list.
Yeah.
And I, for one, would adore if they split it because there's cards that are a bullshit in tabletop, right? Like, but then CEDH, it's a different format. It's played differently. The feel bads, the emotions are different. So yes, personally, my thoughts are I would love if they split it, and I'm actually really, I think it's because CEDH is not really something that Wizards cares about. Commander is. Because Commander sells the packs.
Yeah.
CEDH is actually
CEDH is for degenerates, and we are an amazing family. But holy crap!
They do. So Wizards does care about CEDH deeply because they run their tournaments, and the tournaments they don't go running. Oh hey everybody, here's a Power 6 casual tournament.
Hold on though. What do you mean they run their tournaments? I don't think. I don't think Wizards runs any CEDH tournaments.
Yeah, they just sit back and do this.
Wizards doesn't run any of the tournaments, but the whole idea of like the tournaments that are thrown for Commander do and kind of are inherently CEDH because it's competitive EDH.
Yeah, and it's funny because we're hosting a Commander tournament this weekend, which Michael's a part of.
Yeah.
it's not CEDH.
No.
You know what's great about actually this?
But we went out of the realm to make sure that it was. To specifically limit and be vocal about like, okay, hey, gear your things down. Make sure that like certain sort of combos or like certain play styles to try and forcibly win on like turns 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you can tell when you look at a desk list.
Yeah.
If it's a toolbox to make a combo pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Like a bunch of interaction and just like make my combo happen as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that we did say we discouraged that, but like man, we had a conversation about this, Brady, as well, like about like CEDH, and I was like, there's no such thing as competitive EDH. Because there's CEDH, but it does exist in a gray area when you're asking people or inviting people to come compete in a power level 8 tournament.
Like there's a point I'd like to make to this because I kept using the word competitive, and you're like, Brady, it's not competitive. But like, okay, and I now have the right way to explain this. For me, power 7 and 8 is competitive in EDH because you're adjacent to the toppest echelons of efficiency, right? That is competitive on average, guaranteed. Even if you play power 8, like our tournament, like you match 2 power 8s with each other, that's basically CEDH to me. We're expecting some very fast plays, single round eliminations. It's going to be interesting to see what we get.
Yeah. And like in retrospective, like our conversation, which I mean that conversation was about a month ago.
Yeah.
And like I guess like really in essence, if you use the word competition, the competition is whatever you define. So yes, CEDH is like the top level of decks ever made, like the most efficient power and combos, blah, blah, blah. But yet, like you can for sure have a competition of power level 7 to 8.
Yeah.
So it is still competitive. And yeah, like I remember just being like, man, like I don't think we should use the word competitive if we're talking about like power level 6 decks because it's not competitive in regard. But we could host a competition of friggin' power level 4.
Yeah.
You know what? Why could we be? Right? Has anyone tried that actually?
I'm sure they have, and
why would you do that?
Jank deck tournament. I want nothing but a bunch of trash cards and a fucking deck. I want everyone to show up and take 20 turns to win. That'd be amazing. It wouldn't be good content, but it would be funny for some clips.
I mean, it would be good content if we make sure that it's like people are doing hokey jokey things, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm only allowed to win if I have like these exact permanents on board.
Yeah.
I'm allowed, like
like
stuff,
like the bingo card type thing.
Yeah.
Or I would like to ask also, like Michael, if you're still watching, I would like to know your thoughts.
Yeah. To that, because we did get a little off there, just talking about like the CEDH sense instead of that. Back to the original question that was posed there. I do also agree. I think that, especially at this point, when it comes to like tournament specific, unregulated power level competitive, and just regular like casual playing with friends, there probably should be a little bit of a different ban list. But it's hard to gauge, and I think it's kind of the reason why Wizards has stepped away from even banning some cards. That it's like there's a current outcry for Shoulder of the Apocalypse, the One Ring,
Leave my bay out of this.
Orcish Bowmasters.
That is my wife.
But they're format specific. Like the ban, they're crying for a ban in certain formats.
There's still, there's still a lot of people who are asking them to be banned in all formats because they're still. I don't know if Shoulder is still legal. Yeah, I don't know if Shoulder is still in Standard.
Yep. They didn't ban anything in Modern or anything in Standard recently.
Yeah. But I know that there's a lot of Commander players who are asking for those cards to be banned as well because people are just overly abusing them.
Commander players, like, it's ridiculous. Like, there's so many more egregious things already.
I know. They should totally unban Emrakul the Aeon's Torn because I'm sorry, it will never win faster than an Orcish Bowmasters by today's standards.
I have something that just jumped in my head, and it's been something I've wanted to rant for a little bit because when it comes to people with an outcry for banning cards, I think at the end of the day, it's just a critical failing of Rule 0. Like, come on, people. You're so upset by Shieldred. Why can't you just talk to your opponent about not potentially playing it?
I argued this. No. Standard Rule 0. Rule 0 is a fucking casual commander thing.
Yeah.
This is not a competitive format thing. Standard is a competitive format where there's an official ban list.
Well, for EDH, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So the people are bitching about Shieldred in Standard.
That makes sense because it does make sense in that way.
Yeah.
It's brutal, especially when you compound it by having 3 other copies in the deck.
And standard is like a very foundational competitive format.
Okay, yeah.
And people look to Wizards to regulate it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's irresponsible of Wizards to let it go to shit. And like Modern right now is having a real hard time with the Rakdos scam deck. With Grief and Fury. And like these two evoke elementals that are basically like, oh sure, they cost 5 mana. Never. You never pay 5 mana for it. You pitch something else from your hand and you play it. And now even these decks have been made so much more egregious with I don't know if you're familiar with the Feign Death. There's
I love Feign Death. That's some
Feign
good
Death
combos
is
of
like
that.
a 1 mana instant that like if this creature would die, just bring it back to the battlefield.
Yep.
So that's what's like the abuse of these triggers.
Yep.
Okay, the reason this fucking deck is called Rakdos Scam is because you can basically turn 1, play a mountain, you can Thoughtseize somebody, take a card from their hand, and then you can pitch a card from your hand, play the fucking Grief for free, Thoughtseize them, and then the next turn you can do it again with a Feign Death so that double triggers again. They have nothing in their hand by turn 2.
Yeah.
And it's such a scam. You're like, I mulliganed, I kept an opening hand, and then by turn 2 you're like, I have no cards in my hand. And that doesn't happen that often, but when it does, you feel like you got fucked out of a game of Magic. And so everybody's just like, you have to ban something here. And then the recent ban and announcement list that came through, Wizards was like, all formats are fine, no bans.
Well, it's because I think all of the content creators, for the most part, especially over the last like year or two, have all been sort of leaning into more of the turn 0 discussion. And I think that's kind of where Wizards itself is as well. And who knows if it's part of Hasbro's influence or if it's just Wizards the
No, that's
influence.
a casual thing.
Yeah,
I just mean in general. I think that they're more so leaning onto the hands off, where it's just like let the player base figure out what the player base wants to do.
True, but it's not when it comes to a format that's on Magic Online where there's regional qualifiers being hosted with that format. There's Pro Tours being hosted. Like you can't be hands off with a format where it's you're the curator. You're the curator of the ban list. So like casual is the only one where Rule 0 comes in. Like anything that's competitive, they have to regulate a ban
Actually, I
list.
have a point to add to this now. Actually, I have 2 things I want to ask you, Tanner. Or one thing I want to ask you, but I have a point now I'm going to throw out there. So playing casually in EDH, because my point earlier about the Rule 0, I was leading into the Commander. He made a solid point about everything else. It makes sense. However, in terms of Commander, I see even a lot of Commander players make these call for bans. And at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to bad communication and honesty. Being the best version of yourself going into a game that's social, fun time. Like at the end of the day, if you're going in there and you're souring people's attitude, like, yeah, people might just respond by, well, I accept you as a friend, you're fine. But instead of that, screw this card, like I have right here, Shieldred, my base. She is literally top 5 favorite cards, like just character-wise. Not even the Apocalypse, just Shieldred, just forever till I die. And so I don't know. I get it. I do get it, but I think it just comes down to communication. Now, my question to you, Tanner, is: can you make Rakdos Scam in Modern without the actual deck tech for Scam right now? Can you replace Dread? Can you replace Thoughtseize? Is there a way to make this a neutral experience?
Do you mean by banning cards?
No, I mean by, let's say you replace, so instead of Thoughtseize, you play Duress. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Duress is strictly worse, right?
Well, that's what I mean. So can you balance
you're
it out
talking
this way?
about like as a personal player dialing back so as not to be oppressive to your opponent?
But also honoring your own deck brew. Let's say you do love playing Scam, but you want to be amicable about it. So you change all the cards, you find all the right cards, minus Fury and Dread. Sorry, I know that's impossible. Or Grief, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, no, aside from that, can you build that deck?
You can. You can for sure pick cards that are legal that are less oppressive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The problem is Modern is very much a format where sweaty players live.
Dirty balls.
Nobody, like, I would love to play Modern. I don't know, I can't afford to buy a Modern deck.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
I make budget modern decks.
Right.
Fun.
And so if I wanted to go play a modern tournament, I could for sure put together a deck that's like $99 or something and go have an enjoyable time. But I'm a little too sweaty for that. I would
You're
like to
spiked.
play
Yeah.
a deck that is capable. That's like when I went into this whole Pioneer thing, like I was like, okay, I'm gonna play the cheapest deck because I don't want to spend a lot of money right now because my wife will kill me.
Burrow's heroic.
So that's why I bought the mono red wizards deck, which did not show up in time. Right? I was like, mono red wizards is actually like a friggin' $80 deck, and I can just get into it and I can play. And it didn't show up in time. And then last minute, I pivoted to upgrade my Boros heroic deck, which was definitely the right move.
best. Yeah, it was.
Because the deck was actually like out of nowhere, got some new cards in Wilds of Eldraine that made it like lethal.
Yeah, like
compared to what it used to
what
be.
was it? The Virtuoso. Like you
Yeah,
threw those in
that
there?
was Streets of New Capenna. It was the Illuminator Virtuoso.
Yeah.
But also Monstrous Rage. Monstrous Rage is a one-drop red instant from Wilds of Eldraine.
one.
It is literally the reason that deck has legs now.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
I never thought to play the heroic deck because it wasn't really like an option. But yeah, like I'm just saying this in regards to the fact that like if I'm going to sit down and play against people where stakes are on the line, I do kind of want to have a deck that has legs.
That's fair.
And because of that, Modern is like so far out of my friggin' price range, man. Like Modern is
Sell your car.
yeah, sell my car.
Who cares about if I don't care if you do construction, you're a framer, whatever.
That's a fucking YouTube short if I've ever seen one. You want to play Modern, sell your car.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's kind of feeling like you want to play any format, sell your car.
Yeah. Well, that's why like Pioneer drew me in, right? Because Pioneer is like, hey, Modern is like massive and it's got so many different sets plus the fetch lands, right? The mana base is prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
Pioneer is like, what if we cut it off right at the fetch lands and banned fetch lands?
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It's a more reasonable format. It's basically Pioneer is that format where good standard decks go to die, but not die because you can play them again, right? Let's say you build a standard deck and you're like, oh, like for instance, the first standard deck that I built. Actually, you posted something on the Rogues Passage page earlier that's an article that Sam
Standard
Black.
is dying.
Yeah, Sam Black was like talking about how like standard is maybe not the best formula nowadays. And I read that article and I was like, man, that's actually like potent for me because the first person that ever inspired me to build a standard deck in paper was Sam Black. And he,
Really?
Yeah.
Right on. How about that?
He was the one that built the. It was him. He took to the Pro Tour, and he got pretty far with the blue-white God Pharaoh's Gift and refurbish from Kaladesh, and Angel of Invention from Kaladesh. Because when you use God Pharaoh's Gift and you get the trigger to bring Angel of Invention back from the graveyard, Angel of Invention came back as a 1/1 with what was the mechanic in Kaladesh that
Fabricate?
modulate or
Fabricate?
Yeah.
Fabricate,
So it was fabricate, and you would add counters, but God Pharaoh's Gift made it come back as a base 4/4. So then you would put 2 counters on it, and it would be a 6/6 flying lifelink vigilance for free every turn. And like I remember just watching this deck play out on TV one day and being like, man, this is so good, and I wanted to build the deck. And that was the moment that made me want to go to the store and play standard and compete in standard. And just the same as that fucking Pioneer deck, I built it and put it on the shelf and never went. I never got the courage to go play against people, but like, yeah, like building decks in paper. I don't know how we got on this, man. I just got on a fucking rant. I'm sorry.
No,
It's fine. We're passionate.
That's okay. It does bring in to a pretty decent segue here of what is the advantages and disadvantages of using stapled and pseudo abilities in Magic when they don't actually exist as they're printed on cards.
Yeah, like
Things
heroic, inspired, constellation.
What do you mean staple? Like evergreen abilities?
Not evergreen. No. So like when
So it's like heroic is probably the primest example and perfect because we were just talking about it. So there's abilities out there.
like Virtuoso.
Yeah,
It's
where
pseudo-heroic.
or it's not heroic by name, like
Right.
by ability name, but it's the same
Yeah,
effect.
it is the same as heroic. Like it is basically when this creature's targeted, it connives.
Yeah. Do you think that like it's stronger to not have the word heroic because heroic halfway limit like kind of limits it?
Or does it even actually limit?
Sometimes it does.
Actually, did any of the? I think the only difference in those abilities is the in italics the word heroic before the sentence.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're different in any way, really.
But why would they? That's actually interesting then that they would do that, because there's been plenty of constellation spells recently, released that don't say constellation on them. I just find it interesting. There has to be an homage, or it pays tribute exactly from where it's from. So if we're going back to Theros, sure, we'll use the abilities then. But I kind of find that to be a little bit of a cop out. Like once you create a really cool mechanic, like inspired. I want to see more inspired. I want that to
What
come
is
back.
inspired again?
So whenever it untaps, you usually pay into ability or some other kind of cost, and then you get some weird, silly ability. Yeah. One of my favorites is a shaman, a Minotaur shaman, that when it untaps, you can pay one colorless and a red, and you create a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's an enchantment in addition to its other types at 4 CMC, and then
stays?
red. Yeah.
Cursed Mirror, yeah. It's one of my win cons for...
I think it actually gets
that
exiled.
sounds like
I
a
do
good
think
card.
it gets.
Oh,
I think
wait,
it
I was
gets
going to say, if
exiled.
it stays, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, something. I'll find that up here. But yeah, no, honestly, this has been.
Oh, no,
this
sorry.
is,
I was thinking about Cursed Mirror.
Yeah. But I know, like, regardless, abilities like that, I find it interesting that you would go out of your way to literally get this on print, and then you would just not honor your work after that.
So you mean not using them in high enough frequency?
Post fact. So
Yeah.
it's like they're not reprinting heroic on new cards that have nothing to do with Theros.
Right,
And
so-
it's like, why make the heroic to begin with?
God, it'd be great to have some of the people in R&D on this call right now, because I'm sure they have so much to say.
here, let's get on that.
Yeah, let's get R&D on the call.
Hey,
I'm just getting
if you're
Wizards
watching,
R&D.
call us right now.
Yeah, please do it. We're can you?
They basically there's abilities that let's take Sarah Angel for instance as an example.
Classic.
In Alpha, Sarah Angel does not have vigilance. The words just say what it does, and that at a certain point, I think they printed a card named Vigilance. And then eventually they were like, we should make this an evergreen ability. They call them evergreen, right? And it was like, okay, this is vigilance. And actually recently, one of the most prominent ones they did that with was Surveil. Because if you think back to talking about the most recent set release here, Ixalan. Ixalan, when it came out back shortly after I started playing Magic, search for Azcanta. It's on the screen here right now. Search for Azcanta says a whole lot of fucking words, but what it really says is Surveil 1. What are you doing?
I was looking at the chat, because we have a comment there saying Discover and Cascade.
Yeah, Discover and Cascade are... So Cascade is an ability that's been in Magic for a long time, right? Quite a long time. And
Like 10 years, yeah. Something like
Discover is a new take.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying it's
Explore.
Some
Sorry, I was
people are saying
thinking Explore.
it's fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Explore. Discover is Cascade, but fixed or better. It's better in the sense that you no longer have to cast the card.
Yeah.
Ooh, that
You can put it in your hand.
Yeah.
So now
It
instead
also-
of if you hit a dud,
Yeah.
you can put it in your hand.
It also opens it up where Cascade was always 1 mana less.
Yeah, 1
where
mana less than the
Discover
CMC of
can
the
be
card.
Equal CMC or less.
So this Discover can be whatever the card says.
Yeah.
So you can have a 4 mana card that says Discover 2 or Discover 1.
I don't like that.
There's a 6 mana card, Discover 10.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Welcome to the Ixalan.
It's on screen now. Not now for you live stream wonderful. Hold on. I want to. This card. It's called Enter the Motherlode or something. It's a red card. It's 4 red. This is from memory. Sorry if it's wrong, but it's 4 red. Discover 10, and then Discover 10 means go until you hit a card CMC 10 or less. But here's the catch: if it's a 2 mana card that you hit, you get 8 treasure tokens. You get the balance in treasure tokens. It's kind of actually nutty.
You know, I was just thinking, I caught myself because the Emery and Oz on both my shoulders were like, no. Brady, you likes it. You just don't want to go against it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to break this a little bit.
Discover is so it's not inherently linked to the CMC of the card that cascaded. It's like
It's whatever the
Discover number is what you do. But it's better in the sense that if you draw into a counterspell, you can pocket it to your hand. You don't just cast it and fizzle. So I think it's funny because a lot of people were like, why did you have to make Cascade better? It's already kind of busted.
I mean, like I was already really vibing because like Ixalan coming around the corner, I was going out of my way to find as many Explore cards as I could because I was like, yeah, this is going to be good. And now they don't really.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually 7 mana, and it's called Hit the Mother Load. It's 4 red. It's called Hit the Mother Load, sorcery speed, discover 10. If the discovered card's mana value is less than 10, create a number of tap treasure tokens equal to the difference. You get your freaking
Rionia
refund.
Oh my god.
Miram.
Neheb.
Miram.
Yeah.
Miram.
Oh my god, Chiscoria.
Yeah, these are like the fun like commander chase rares
Yeah.
from the set. And
Yeah.
like
I also got a bone to pick with you, Wizards of the Coast. If you're going to sell a product that used to be $50 and you've kind of bumped that price up without actually changing any of the quality and taking away our functional art and card books, yes, I'm looking at the bundles. Do you want to at least guarantee a mythic and not 3 of the exact same rares in the rare slots,
Yeah,
please?
he had a whiff.
you had an opening
He had a whiff.
recently.
That was the most like disgusting box of Magic I've ever opened in my life. And I get that it's all still random chance, so I just kind of lost the coin flip on that one.
Didn't you get the memo? It's no longer value positive to open booster packs or bundles of any kind.
Apparently, but Jesus,
It's no longer value positive. That's a thing of the past.
So let me get this straight. So the best value I have is to not put any magic into Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast pocket, and
Money?
instead only go for the secondary market sellers. That seems okay.
No,
sure.
I'm pretty sure what Wizards wants you to do is buy
crack
more.
like 30 boxes.
They want you to stop talking and buy more.
It's not going to happen though. And guess what? We have a podcast now.
Just another white boys for the podcast talking about magic.
No, it is kind of crazy.
Excuse me. Yes, I am a white boy.
I adore buying Magic products, but I have transitioned to buying
Kid
the
products,
cards I
actually.
want
Like I've
instead
been
of
on
buying
the
sealed
realm.
product.
Yeah, like I've been on the realm of like wanting to continue to always buy bundles for forever, just because it's like I love getting the boxes, I love getting the big dice, all that kind of stuff. But especially the last couple of years, it almost does feel like maybe I'm just losing the luck of my box pulls. But it seems like people are only getting value out of collector boosters now and not out of the set boosters, and it's like that's really kind of annoying.
Wait, I was going to suggest I got a box of Zendikar Rising upstairs, and I know, and it's got a box topper, which can be like a basically an expedition fetch land.
Yeah.
And I was going to be like, yo, let's roll the dice right now. But I almost like don't want you to touch it.
I mean, hey, me like 6 months ago, a year ago, yeah, absolutely, hand me that thing. It would have been 8 in there for no reason.
What if I opened it? You want me to go get it?
It's up to you, dude.
It's been sitting there, and I kind of have just been
I'll say
desperate to know what is in there. Also,
it's Schrodinger's card right now. For as long as you don't open it, it is a guaranteed one of those lands.
Schrodinger's card.
Schrodinger's magic card.
Yeah.
I do need a Scalding Tarn though.
I mean, I technically have 2. I have my foil one, and I have my.
I'm not giving you mine.
You guys
either.
carry the weight for a sec. I feel like this is spontaneous. I'm gonna go rip
Okay.
that bitch open. And
All right, let's go rip this bitch open.
Because I also have a box of Commander Legends, and I do not own a Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah,
and I
Neither do
might.
I. If you pull 2,
I might not know that I have it up in there in the cabinet. But yeah, I'm gonna go grab that box.
Can I ask? Go grab that box. But can I ask a potential favor? If you draw one of the other lands that isn't a Scalding Tarn, can I just trade you my Scalding Tarn for that? I don't have all of those lands yet. I'm only missing like 3 or 4.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
And I'm trying to complete the collection. I almost have all of the utility dual tap lands for all of the color bases printed. I also have all of the triomes in full art. It's been an obsession. Because if there's one thing that every deck needs, it's a good land base. Am I right?
Michael's like, do it. Yes, I will fuck with Discovery. Oh, yes. We are going to spank some butt. And I'm going to have a good time doing it. It'll be a grand old time, babe.
Yeah, I like
Just you and
Discovery.
me discovering.
Yeah, I like Discovery. I kind of wish they just left it as Cascade. We don't need 2 because I feel like it's just going to get abused now.
Well, my opinion might change the more frequent I see it. I was really butthurt about the ring tempts you, and frankly, ironically, I've only seen it now a few times in our gameplays. There's some people who just inherently don't like how jacked it is, especially when you get to 4.
Yeah,
4 times you've been tempted, and
oh no! You're misled off of that. The 4 is strong, but it's only that Frodo deck that
Oh yeah, that really breaks
Yeah.
it. Yeah, the one
Yeah.
that just makes it people
that
lose the
Aiden
game.
plays.
Yeah.
That's the problem where it is. Having getting to the rings tempted you 4 times on like any other of the cards. It's strong. It's not really that strong.
All right, we're back.
What took you? That was hours.
It was hours. I was hit my fingernails.
Yeah, time moves differently in the Rogue's Passage.
Come on, you're a carpenter.
As soon as you walk out of the actual passage, time functions normally.
Use
Here,
those carpenter hands.
we're
Come on.
transcending like time and space. Might as well just open the Doctor Who decks here as well.
It's been like, I don't know. Okay, realistically, I bought this box to draft with it, to host a draft, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
You know what?
So it's been that long.
Why don't we each just get a pile?
What?
Right now,
No, I do still want to draft with it.
No, I'm being a greedy fuck. Just
Yeah.
ignore me.
I mean, it's.
still
I
want to
love
draft
this set. Honestly, it was one of my favorites.
I mean, Zendikar Rising. No, nah.
Brand.
No, let me-
Modal double-faced cards.
Yeah, no. Let me finish. The lands.
There it is.
The lands, super cool. Some of the cards were great. When it came to like the common bulk of Zendikar Rising, I felt like the common bulk and the uncommon bulk, I barely see people play any of the common and uncommon bulk out of it. If I do, it's like the randomest one card here just because there was nothing else to fill the space or they were just pulling it out of their bulk. It's like the few choice mythics and rares that I see played out of this. Aside from that, it was kind of I love Zendikar. Zendikar's my favorite plane. Both.
Okay, so we got a naysayer here.
Yeah.
We're not going to let him open this.
Someone's a bitch tonight.
Also, yeah, no,
you guys-
don't. My magic block is shit right now.
Do you guys want to pull up a list to see like Zendikar Rising
Expedition
expeditions?
Okay.
Because I know there's like an ancient tomb. I think potentially Cavern of Souls.
I believe
there was
it's not all of them, but yeah, I
the
believe
filter lands too. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was what it's the ally filter lands or is it the enemy filter lands?
Oh, these are so nice. Well, they're expensive. Well,
Yeah.
if
They've
they're-
come down.
That ancient tomb. I'm hoping it's an ancient tomb in
They've
there.
come down.
$85.
Yeah, they've
for-
American baby. That's like 100-ish.
They're all way cheaper than they used to be.
I guess I should open
Almost
it over
every
in
single one
front of
was
the camera
bordering-
to be dramatic.
Yeah,
Well,
almost
open
every
it
single
over
one
here.
of them was bordering 100.
Yeah, get that ASMR, please. Yeah, just get some like plastic sounds for the children.
Oh yeah, this isn't even the set that we got the Scalding Tarn and stuff out of.
What do you mean?
I don't-
original. No, Scalding Tarn's.
Oh, it is. Okay,
Look at that prismatic. Look at that. Prismatic Vista.
I don't have that Scalding Tarn. I have the Modern Horizons.
Oh, I really want that prismatic Vista.
Scalding Tarn.
God damn. Such sex on screen right now. Ooh, that stripped mine. Mm.
Oh my god, this is so difficult.
It's because they started designing packs where you have to rip them down the side instead.
So it's a colorless land, I think.
It's just a waste.
If it's Ancient Tomb,
He rips it by accident.
Spire Garden. Well, it's nice.
That's all right.
Oh wait, the two or more opponents. This is the Battle Bond land.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's all right.
yeah. That's about $17. That one.
13. Or I guess
American, yeah. That'd be about 17. Yeah.
Did I step on a cable?
Okay,
I finally know. I finally know.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Ooh.
I don't.
Oh yeah.
America money, let's go.
Oh, I love that. Oh, it's a bit of our own aesthetic, isn't it? Look at
it's
that.
etched.
The etching
not
is
foiled,
just.
but like, yeah.
Any chances?
Damn, I don't play Gruul often.
It's
I
beveled.
was just gonna say, I'll suck your tits, babe.
Excuse me.
I'll trade you for a Scalding Tarn.
Excuse me. Oh yeah. Hey, who has a Scalding Tarn? Ooh, interesting. Who has 2 Scalding?
Hey, if I can trade it for a Scalding Tarn, then I technically opened a Scalding Tarn.
Right, and don't forget, guys, I own all these lands so that we own all these lands.
I own all these lands. I just don't have this version.
I actually think I do have a Spire Garden too. I'm definitely still
I
going to
have. Yeah, honestly, I
toss
have.
you my Scalding Tarn though.
I have.
What version do you have? Modern Horizons or
Modern
wait,
Horizons.
Was it Modern Horizons 2 that they finally reprinted the fetch lands?
Yeah, the fetch lands with the some of them were just reprint or like newish art reprints, and then some of them had the retro borders.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, the only one I don't have is Strip Mine so far, and an actual because we have I have a proxied. Where the freaking Ancient Tomb, but everything else I have, yeah, just not these versions.
I have the
That's expensive to get all these versions, damn.
I have the Bloodstained Mire
That's
specifically of this art, and then I have I have Windswept, Flooded Strand, Verdant Catacombs.
Here is all of them here.
It's
Sorry,
pretty.
editors.
I think I have
pretty.
Arid Mesa. I'm missing only a few of
The
them.
art in this set is actually phenomenal.
That's what I was gonna say because I loved Zendikar. You know, like one of my. I want to get a full print of Morog.
Oh,
The
yeah,
alt art Morog is so
Morog is
brilliant.
so good.
And, like
Yeah.
even the like a lot of those creatures when you see the alt art foils, they are breathtaking.
Yeah.
breathtaking. And the lands. When Zendikar first came out. Not a big fan of the Eldrazi even, but like I loved everything else revolving around the stories. Like every time we come, you know this. You know this.
Brandon's just got the stank
You know
face.
You're getting the couch tonight, you know that, right? Anyways,
You're getting the couch for down talking our.
whatever. That's why we have two couches, okay? Okay?
Adjacent couches.
I'm sorry, big Squidward chin, goddamn Cthulhu badasses. Yeah, let's go. I'm talking.
I love their
specifically
aesthetic. They're just not my favorite. Going against, it's just like a lot of PTS. It's like slivers. I can respect slivers. I can respect Eldrazi for sure, but you don't ever see me almost ever playing them.
Who respects slivers?
Lots of players out here in the chat now on the comments. Let us know.
As a sliver player with two sliver decks,
As an actual sliver.
you love them. I like slivers. I don't respect slivers.
That seems contradictory.
You don't respect the man who holds a gun to your head.
What if I did?
You fear the man. You acknowledge his power. You don't respect him.
What if that's a kink of mine?
Okay, well that's a different story.
Load my face up, Daddy.
I'm not kink shaming you.
And that's our show. Thank you for. What else do we want to talk about?
What else, indeed?
We are.
What are we actually looking at?
We're just over an hour, and we're
just over an
starting to
hour?
get saucy.
We're starting to get saucy.
saucy.
Well, you guys are. I'm on a
Well, yeah,
sabbatical.
you-
We should probably avoid this one, though I do want to talk about that.
No,
in the
that's
future.
that's the one that I want to do in the future as well. But
Yeah.
we can do that in one
Okay,
loaded
what
episode.
do we got? What do we got? We got
Honestly, I would
the
like
grab
to
bag.
The grab bag. I wouldn't mind just mentioning some of the really cool guys that we have hanging out here soon.
That
you
is
know?
wholesome as fuck. I love
I
that.
really do.
Yeah,
Into the 99. Shout out to y'all. You've been a breath of fresh air for us. You've been very
exceptional content creators.
yeah. Honestly, thank you so much.
Yeah, we were already in a state, especially when it came to like the FaceToFace tour event here in Calgary, of like already kind of like riding our own high on the channel and just getting really excited for the opportunities. And then your wonderful faces just appeared in the distance and grew ever closer to the point. It's like, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, you accepted us right away.
Yeah,
was like,
great
yeah.
attitude, great, like just amazing players too.
And I've been just then too. Like honestly, with the community at large here, I wanted to emphasize, you know, like with our tournament, we have Brian showing up from Phoenix Comics. Super excited about that. That's gonna keep this train going, you know, because especially one of our prerogatives is to just enrich the community.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I want to become an ambassador. I want that freaking light on my name. I don't want Esquire anymore. You know, I want.
Yeah, because I think when we first sat down for this channel, one of the big things that we kind of like discussed was it wasn't just about, of course, playing a game that we love and trying to make that somehow a job. It was, we already know so many amazing people. We just wanted to expand that horizon, build a community, bring a place where not only us but everybody else kind of gets their point to shine and the ability to like take their love of this game to another level.
Yeah, I think actually the high point of my Magic playing for years was inviting people to come over for a draft for every set.
Yeah, you vibe so hard every time.
That was
Yeah.
my
You always
favorite
point
way
that.
to play Magic was and actually like it was a double-edged sword because I was like really into draft.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to fucking win.
You had that. Do you remember when you had that set with the lands? He was like, "Oh yeah, this is just a casual $400 deck," but it was just like it was all standard. It was all standard. You just happened to have all the right cards for it. You had the unset.
Oh,
the
my
unset
Grixis
lands,
deck.
The Grixis deck.
Yeah,
You had
I built
very
a Grixis. No, I'm talking about draft.
Did you draft those cards?
No, I bought all those cards to build a Grixis deck.
Okay, I don't know shit.
Yeah, that was like all of the shock lands, all of the check lands, all of the like the unstable basics. Yeah, I built like a Grixis mana. Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm talking about like I loved my favorite way to play Magic was to buy a box of every set of draft boosters and organize like a draft with our homies.
Love you, Mike.
Yeah, love you too.
Sliver collector here. One must respect the classic utmost tribe. Yeah. It is a legacy degeneracy.
Oh, I'm right there with you, buddy. I think I own every sliver ever printed. Half of them are foiled at this point. No, I get you. I just
Hold up. So you do own the Slivdrasi monstrosity?
Yep.
Now,
The playtest card.
is there a sliver that you don't own because of its rarity or because of its
I don't think so.
elusivity?
I found so many to even give you, and you're like, I'm sorry, I already have that.
So I went about and I built my first sliver deck, and I didn't have all of them then. And I sorry to steal back from when we were talking about all that. Yeah, I built my first sliver deck, and I just bought like a little bit more than the deck needed, just because it's like, okay, hey, I want options. Hey, I'm super stoked to build this sort of thing. So there's a bunch of them that kind of came out of that. But the majority, because it was an oops all slivers deck, was like the whole point of like why I built the sliver deck is because everybody hates slivers, so I built it to be kind of bad. Because if there's no counter spells and there's no like cultivates and Kodama's reaches, like how it can't be that good when the best I can do is just whatever the slivers can do. I'm not doing all the rest. But then
it's sort of grab bag.
Yeah. But then as soon as they announced that they were printing the new Sliver Commander, Sliver Gravemother, I immediately went out of my way and I just bought the rest that I didn't have, knowing that they were gonna get like we were gonna get new ones out of the new Sliver Precon. And I'm like, okay, now I just have all of them. And I'm missing only a couple of Eldrazi. Mostly just the devoid ones.
Which ones?
There's one that I haven't been able to find because it's sold out everywhere. I believe it's a Dimir one, which a landfall ability.
Oh, I have that one.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever you have landfall enters, you exile their library or something? Exile top card library?
I think so.
Yeah, I have that one.
If you, if you were really committed, you could get these cards, right? Like they're not that elusive, right?
Well, no, it's not that elusive. It's just one of those things where just like every time I go to check online, they're just never there. Sort of thing.
Preston the Vanisher, what I was mentioning, Preston the Vanisher years ago. I was always looking for it. I could never find it.
But yeah, no, it's just like, I'm right there with you, Mike. I respect the Sliver hustle. I do not respect the Sliver decks because as a Sliver player, we're the worst kind of degenerates.
No, you know what?
You just haven't been on a nice date night yet.
Really, like it's hard not to respect people. It's hard not to respect the cards.
You know,
It's the slivers themselves.
Yeah, that are a problem. they are a problem. But yeah, I think shy of like maybe 10 Eldrazi's, I own every Sliver and Eldrazi card printed.
Oh man,
my tribes. Existential terror.
Well, yeah, I mean, we went on a tangent there at the end as well.
Thank you, Mike.
We started with busting into this point here about talking about
the community at large. Yeah, no, I wanted to also shout out to Steven at First Player again.
Yes.
Thank you so much for hosting our first event.
Yeah.
You are a saint.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope we don't fuck it up.
Oh, we will. But in our own spectacular way.
So I set up things for multi-streaming, right?
Yeah.
So that I could stream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time.
Yeah.
Tried it tonight. Twitch didn't work.
Yeah.
So we gotta.
We're going Saturday. We're gonna make sure these. We're gonna do as much as we can, and then Sunday we're gonna show up as early as we can. And this time around we've put a lot of work into it. I'm so excited to get this off the ground.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic, and I'm so excited to see all of the people who are coming out for this, the weird decks that they're building.
I just hope everybody has fun.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that there's not like a situation where somebody's just like, well, that was bullshit.
Well, I mean, no matter what, it's going to be a mixed bag. I think at the end of the day, people will inherently show up with a good attitude, but depending on the plays, you never know. Human nature will take over and someone's going to say, you're a dick.
Yeah. And I mean, that's that's the nature of anything truly competitive is at the end of the day, especially when it comes to a tournament, everybody is there to win. Respect, endless respect if you come to do weird, fun shenanigans, make it a good time for people, and still manage to win.
If somebody shows up with a grouphug deck.
But like...
Well, I mean, you're the one who would know that, so...
But
I do have all the information, don't I?
Yeah, Tanner here is literally the one in charge. He's actually taking a lot on because this was supposed to be my pet project from the first time around my birthday, and then I was like, wow, I need my boys to do this, right?
Well,
so
we're better as a team.
We're better as a team.
Callie and I, like my wife and I, in regards to our music project and all of that, like we constantly have to remind ourselves that we're better leveraging each other's advantages and like being good at what we're good at together and being better than we can be solo as a group, right?
That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and this tournament, like there's elements of hosting a tournament that I'm good at. There's elements that you're good at. Right?
I've been attracting people.
Too.
Yeah,
I am terrified that I'm the one that has to look at these deck lists, or at least I was until they started coming in.
Yeah,
and realistically, now that I've looked at all but 5 or 6, man, they're harmless. Like. They're not.
Excuse me, you're insulting me right now.
Yeah, right. No, they're harmless in regards to I'm not worried whether I
One
made the
will-
right choice.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
it's a good example too, because when you tried to do this for your birthday, we set a couple of restrictions. I think it was like no blue.
Yeah,
no
I wanted to
infinite
take
combos.
away blue, and I wanted to. I think that was it.
It
I
was
just
no
wanted-
infinite combos.
Yeah, no infinite combos and no blue, and then everyone responded by
building the
Being
most
more ruthless.
being the most asinine. Like 3 of the decks immediately that people were suggesting was just like the
land
most
destruction,
potent land
and, yeah.
destruction,
And
and it's
then we-
like. Wow, everybody! You heard limitations and you decided to come. You chose
not to
violence.
knock on it. Honestly,
You chose
it's an understandable
yeah.
progression
Oh,
of things.
oh,
I'm
absolutely.
sorry. If you take away someone's fork when they want to eat food, they're going to use their
Exactly,
knife.
exactly. So no shame at this point. Like I don't judge anyone for it at this point. I was just baffled that was like, guys, I just want to throw a team synergy tournament where I used bloodshed in the original title.
Yeah.
Oh shit! That just reminded me. I can't talk about this here because one of your opponents is at the table with me. But I think I have something.
Should I leave?
No, I need to talk to you off air about the way that you guys built your decks because the way that your synergy works, I have suspicions that it might not work as good as you're thinking it will.
Well, don't give him hints.
No,
If it's not a
should I? Well,
no.
Oh, I know there's
Yeah.
gonna be some gambling to it. That's all.
no. I think I might be wrong, but like we need to talk about this after.
All right.
There's a fundamental
podcast.
flaw. No, well, as long I can't say any of this around Brandon. We'll talk about this after.
For future.
Seen some behind the scenes tea. It was literally while I was on Stony Trail driving home from work, and I was like, wait, did Brady overlook this, or did I misunderstand this?
No, honestly, we went to. I'll say this much: we knew that there's going to be some consequences.
What do you mean by consequences?
Well, depending on whether or not things could be synergistically make sense, or
Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about this and we'll see if you know what I'm talking
future
about.
discussion. For future discussion. For everyone else to be
Anyway,
aware of.
we've been taking an hour and 13 minutes of your
Let's
time.
get the fuck out of here. Come on.
This has been fun. I
so
really,
much.
I quite enjoy the aspect of live streaming it, just from the little bit of, what do you mean mugging the screen over there? I like the chat and like endless thanks to the people who have stuck around and contributed and like hung out with us. It means a lot to us. It really does.
Absolutely.
It's super
Aw, look at
heartwarming.
look at our support.
Yeah.
Mike's like Tanner drafts were our
Yeah,
best.
Michael's saying, yeah, like it. Those were some of my favorite times, and becoming a breeder was sort of what put a kibosh on hosting drafts.
Are you feeling very?
But 2024 coming back, the year of our Lord, Tanner's drafts. This box right here, I commit the promise on the Rogue's Passage right now. This and my Commander Legends box, I'm going to host drafts here at the house. The boy's old enough now that we can probably make it work. So I'm going to start hosting drafts again.
I'm going to host my own draft with blackjack and hookers.
Nice.
You know what? Forget the blackjack. Also, you know what? Forget the hookers. We'll just do draft.
I'm gonna create my own draft with cock and balls.
And on that note,
Hey,
thank you guys so much for hanging out. It never ceases to amaze me what kind of words come out of these guys' mouths. Live on the internet. I love you guys. I love these guys. I really do. And
Speaking of group hugs,
yeah, right.
yeah, we're vibing here. So stoked for Sunday. So for Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see you Sunday.
Yep.
Michael, we'll see you there. Whoever else may be hanging out. I would say buy your tickets, but it's sold out.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys there.
See you guys there. And if you're watching this on Sunday, well, hello today. Hope you're having a good day.
Bye.
I'm gonna stick this right up there. No, I'm not. I'm gonna cash it too.